You know what time it is. You know what time it is.
How firm my friendship. Oh,
you know what time it is. Roll with them boys of the fall. You know what time it is. On the ground with a nose for the ball. You know what time it is. Blood, sweat, and them tears for this game. Leaving it all out on the field with no fear for you lames. Guys by a billion, we in the building with over 100,000. We represent from the uttermost to the public housing. And if we don't play, our wide receivers got your secondary shook, so they cook them like Bobby Flay. Hey, stay out of my way and trust me, cause I know it's OH. Somebody please give this brother an IO. Come on.
Hey. What's up, Buckeye Nation? Welcome to Pop's Pod, where we talk college football with real fans. I'm Mello. That's PJ. That's Duke. And you all know that's Bread. And today we have a special show for you guys. With everybody just losing their minds about recruiting and NIL, we figured we might as well bring an expert on to discuss NIL, and PJ Alexander. How you doing, PJ? How you doing, Duke? How you doing, Brad?
I'm good, man. Happy to be on, man.
Happy Friday.
Thank you for joining us. So, Duke, you want to introduce PJ, or PJ, you want to introduce yourself? However y'all want to do it.
I'll introduce him. Everybody's PJ Alexander. He's a good friend of mine and a former teammate of mine from at Syracuse. He's currently works on the board for the NIL Foundation at Syracuse, and just has a wealth of insight. A lot of, people have questions, with the changing landscape with NIL. And so I thought it'd be a great idea to bring PJ on and try to, give some clarity and some understanding on, the happenings in the NIL space. So PJ, I appreciate you coming on, my man.
No doubt. I'll try to answer as many questions and be as clear as possible. It's a ever-evolving, changing landscape, man. It is a wild world we're all living in right now. But I'll do my best to answer the questions I can.
I appreciate it. So yeah, we just jump right into it, man. Like starting out, what was the learning curve like, in the beginning, as far as like, with the NIL and, not really having any guardrails or, or guidance.
Right. So a couple of years ago, our former teammate, Joe Burton, decided to start a collective because there was a guy at Syracuse that had backed out of a commitment from a couple of players on the football team. So he said, you know what? We're going to pick it up. We like these guys that have been here. They put in the time. They deserve to get the money. It's not their fault that the guy backed out. So we started, and we had, I think, Joe had like 3 guys the first year, maybe. And then it went all well. It wasn't a big issue. It was a very small dollar amount. We had the thought process. We're involved in industrial real estate. So we're real estate guys. We thought we could start a collective, a for-profit collective. Now that's where a lot of people get confused. You're either a for-profit collective or a 501c3, which is not for profit.
Right.
So if you're a 501c3, there are guidelines to how much and when you can pay a guy. But the bonus of being that is that people that donate to you get a tax write-off. When you're a for-profit collective, you don't get the tax write-off. So it's harder for people to give you $100,000, $200,000 personally because they don't get the tax benefit.
Exactly.
So we had the idea of doing it where we would buy commercial real estate, and then the profits from the real estate would fund the NIL, would fund the collective. So we wouldn't have to go out and raise money constantly.
Gotcha.
So that was good when it was 3 guys. It was still a long play. So it took a little longer than we thought. So we had some other guys donate to us, and we made it through that first year. Next year, it bumped up to, 10 or 11 guys. And Fran Brown came in. We committed to him to help him as much as we could. So we took on a lot more. And Joe was out. We're just pounding the streets, man. We are, again, since we're for profit, we can go to businesses. And how we framed it is that as a business, if you use your marketing budget for us, then that's your write-off through your business. You can help your marketing expense that you donate to. That is a benefit. So we started there, and all this we were literally doing. Joe, we were all figuring it out as we go along. We had no idea what we were doing. So the learning curve was steep, and then on top of that, there were literally no rules. You could do whatever you want. So like Ohio State, that has a deep booster pool. People with lots of money, they can give a kid as much money as they wanted to, and no one would get in trouble. So that was the world we were living in. Now we're pivoting from that and kind of changing with the new rules and the House settlement that just passed.
Okay, yeah. Melo, you got a question?
Yeah. So as it started shifting, what have you noticed the biggest changes, and what is the hardest thing that you had to deal with in terms of NIL perspective?
So for a school like Syracuse, we're a smaller private university, so we don't have as many donors, right? Ohio State, large public university, tons of people that want to help the program. Traditionally, a very avid fan base that wants to help as much as possible. We were right against that in Syracuse. But we were able, with Fran Brown coming in, to generate that excitement. The thing that's changing now is that they want to have a legitimate purpose for NIL. So a lot of schools are kind of pivoting what we were doing initially. Initially, it was just collective was a bunch of boosters, get in, throw a bunch of money, and you pay the kid.
Yeah.
We set it up more like an agency model where we would pay the kid for their rights, basically. So we pay you this certain amount of money. We have your rights, so we can take it out to businesses to solicit money from them, so they can use your likeness in advertisements, TV advertisements, radio advertisement, cutouts in the mall, whatever it may be.
Right.
It wasn't going to each individual kid. It was going to the collective, and the collective would pay out to the kids.
Okay.
Whatever they needed.
And isn't that what it was intended to do initially, or no?
Initially, that's what it was intended, but that's not what it morphed to be. More just pay for play, where everybody was pool all their money together, like, oh, we want that kid, let's give him $400,000, whatever it may be, to get him on our team. There was no real use of the kid's name, image, and likeness. It was just kind of, we're saying this NIL deal, but we're really just paying.
Yeah. So would you say the new Revshare model do you think it's going to level the playing field?
It will initially
help you be smaller schools be more competitive.
Yeah, I think it will. But again, so people get it confused. NIL and Revshare are completely different buckets. Revshare literally comes from the school's revenue that they create from ticket sales, TV contracts, jersey sales, whatever it is. So they had to carve out that money for the kids. And what, the maximum is 20 and a half. But each school does not have to use all 20 and a half. So a chancellor and AD determines how much they want to use. So some may use only 15 of it or 10 million or whatever it may be. And then on top of that, if you're at a school like Syracuse, who traditionally has a very good basketball team, more percentage of the 20.5 million needs to be diverted to basketball. Or if you're at a traditionally strong, baseball team, they get more percentage, and everyone has to break up their percentage. So I don't know what the Ohio State percentage is, or everyone decides that on their own, but it will level the playing field because everyone is supposed to start at that 20.5 million. So outside NIL now will have to go through a clearinghouse. So if a kid get a NIL deal from, Joe Schmo's Auto Body, that deal, whatever he's getting paid, if it's over $600, you have to submit that through the clearinghouse, and it has to be approved. If it's not approved, they deny the deal, say it has to be renegotiated to have fair market value. So,
and who's determining fair market value?
The NCAA hired Deloitte to do this. So this is where it's all going to break down, just like the NCAA has caved on everything since NIL started.
Yeah.
Who is to say what anyone's value is? Your value is what I'm willing to pay.
Right.
So if Joe Schmo wants to pay me $10,000 to show up to do a 10-second radio interview, so be it. If you want to pay me $1 million to go to one of your company events, who's to say that's not fair market value? Right. I'm worth whatever somebody wants to pay me.
Right.
So as before NIL, as it was, they will find ways around it, but that's going to be the challenge now. Schools and people and players are going to challenge the NCAA, like, you can't cap my value on the open market. I'm going out and doing whatever I can do to make as much money as I can. How are you going to limit what I can make?
Right.
And so, you're talking about $600 or more has to be vetted.
Right.
So in my opinion, it seems like there'd be a lot of contracts. They must have a massive board, right? Otherwise, the process going to be inevitably slow as molasses, right?
It's going to, and that's why they hired Deloitte, this is kind of Deloitte's deal, what they do.
Okay.
So they have enough people, enough staff to do all this, and you're going to have to submit. Everybody's going to have to submit their contracts to this portal to get approved or denied.
I just got one more question. I'm gonna let the fellas have at it for a while, but how did they come up with that $20.5 million?
That I don't know. I thought
it just seems so random.
Well, didn't it come out of the billion from the the lawsuit?
That's going to do with the house settlement and how much you guys can whatever get paid and what was the good amount. So whatever it may be. But I mean, and you still see the big NIL deals. You see a guy getting a 3-year, $3 million deal. That's whatever percentage. So you got a $20.5 million, and then for the football team, you may give them 15 of the 20.5, or some schools are giving 16 or 17, depending on what other sports they feel need money. Mm-hmm. So that pool of money can fund the contracts that they are announcing for some of these kids that may be an NIL deal. It may actually be a Revshare deal, because so you can pay out of the 15 million, say your football team is getting, you can tier what each guys are making. So if you pay a guy $1 million this year, so now you're down to 14. It's just like basically like a salary cap in football or sports. So of the 20 million, whatever you divert to this team, then you break it up to whatever you want each player on that team to make.
But Brad, you got any questions for him?
You're on mute.
I don't have a question, but I already knew that the NCAA clearinghouse had something in store coming. It was just a matter of time. So what you said right now, Mr. PJ, you point on, because at the end of the day, you have too much going on at one time with these student athletes, and then you involve a large amount of money, which is so insane. It get to a point now, they doing it in high school now.
Yeah. I live in Texas. The Texas Board of Governors or in the legislature just approved high school kids get NIL. The UIL, the high school governing body, hasn't approved it yet, but it's coming because all these 5-star, high classified guys in high school, like, why can't I make this money too? Why can't I already start down that line to getting some local deal or some other, national brand to sign them up? So
it started last year in Florida. So I know that's what you're talking about, boss man.
And then that's going to be the next mess, right? Because now you're going to have, all these alumni in these kids' state, businesses, and and all right, I'm gonna give you a NIL deal in high school so I can keep your commitment or get you to commit.
Right.
Like,
it's just so much pressure on these kids, man. It puts so much on their plate, and it's the agents are taking advantage of these kids. Like, so in the league, in the NFL, agents are capped at 3%. Yeah, everyone thinks it's cool to have an agent. These agents, some of these agents are charging these college kids 15 and 20%, which is insane. Insane. They don't even need an agent, but everyone thinks it's cool to have an agent. So now you got an agent. Then you need a manager to also. Then you got to have a lawyer to review all this stuff. Everyone is getting a piece of these kids. And I think that's going to be the problem. That's going to be the downfall of this whole thing, when so many bad operators are out there trying to take advantage of all these kids.
Yeah.
So PJ, this is my main question to you, but it goes for all three of you because you two gentlemen, Duke and KJ, you both have sons that are going through the process. They're going to be negotiating as they go through their careers in terms of this NIL, right?
Mm-hmm.
But for you being in the space that you're in, how does this affect recruiting if you have an agent, right? Because I would tend to believe if say my son had an agent, my agent's going to steer my kid to take the biggest deal. Why? Because it's going to give him the biggest payout, right?
Mm-hmm.
So is there something to that theory in terms of how we're seeing all these commitments this cycle specifically and some of the deals that they're getting paid?
I mean, I think that obviously has something to do with it. Everyone wants the most money. But again, how it used to be when we coming out of high school into college, you want the best fit. What is best for me? What relationship I have with the coach? Where do I feel most comfortable?
Mm-hmm.
Where am I going to be most productive? Now, somebody's in this kid's ear, regardless of any of that stuff, these guys are going to pay you more money. So you could go there and it may not be the right fit. Yep. You may not develop and have the structure that you need to produce as a football player. Mm-hmm. So, and again, I'm all for these kids getting paid. I want them to get paid. I'm not jealous I didn't get paid. I'm not, but you have to do it in the right way, man. You can't just make it the Wild Wild West and just each kid goes to the highest bidder. You know,
because at the end of the day, man, we're still, like raising these kids. I mean, these are, the next adults that have to be around, the next set of kids. Like, what are they going to teach? What's the lesson going to be, right? I'm on the same page as PJ 100%, but I also feel like it's changing the game, like the love of the game.
Absolutely.
While you're playing the game, you know what I mean? Like what you put, what you're doing it for, right? And and that's what I think needs to be reeled in, where coaches need to come to an agreement, like, hey, we're doing this for all first year players. Right. And we just recruit on merit. Right. Like if what you're offering is best for the kid and you can, show that, like to that kid and, like give examples of it, then all right, you win, best man win. And now you have to recruit, you have to do your job as opposed to just throwing money at kids and who may not be ready for it at this time.
Right.
You know what I mean? Or not having, things in place for them to handle that money well. Or, have understanding of that money. And then, they come in already entitled, because they're, 5-star and they got this, this amount of money. And now whereas, when we go to school, we felt, when we went, we're like, dang, man, these dudes are big, man. I gotta do this to in order to, like play and, and what have you. But now they come in like, oh, I don't shoot. I just know.
I do nothing.
I don't gotta do nothing. Coach said I'm gonna start when I come in here. Yeah. So and he paid me this, which proves that I'm gonna play. Then now you got starters, vets, wait, hold on. You not coming? You're not like what is this? It just creates a whole mess, man. And that's what I don't like about it.
This go turn into a turmoil going forward when it comes from high school, they go trickle down to middle school as well. So watch the domino effect, fellas. So by the time these kids get to college, it's gonna be, excuse my language, it's gonna be hell. Yeah. So this way the transfer portal will be a straight portal stool.
Yeah.
This is where you're gonna separate the ball players from the one who just want money and just splurge. Yeah, they're gonna be a big, and we gonna see it, fella. We gonna see it big time.
Yeah,
and it's just crazy how the games have changed.
I'm hoping the adults and step up and do the right thing. And like I said, I think it's gonna come down to the coaches. Really like. But
Dion just said it. Primetime just said it. They need a salary cap. Which is, and it has to be a hard salary cap. Can't get anything outside, right? Mm-hmm. It has to be that. But you saw the same thing in NFL when all the quarterbacks and rookies were getting these huge contracts coming in, and the vets were like, "Yo, why is this dude getting paid before he's even stepped foot in the NFL?" and I've been grinding all my life, and I can't get the money.
Right.
So now that's what you're saying. These guys, these 5 stars, 4 stars are getting all this money up front, and they're gonna get resentment when they come in. That's gonna be a problem when the vets on your team have been here grinding, and you give this guy out of nowhere all this money to come in that may not be that good, but shows up now. The pressure on the coaching staff to play him just because they paid him a certain amount of money. So it's not merit based anymore. I got so much of my money tied up in you. You got to play. You got to figure it out. But what is the drive for a guy to be better and to work that hard when you already got $1 million? When you got a guaranteed $3 million, $4 million for the next 3 years? When we were coming out, you got to college. Your goal was trying to get to the league. You're grinding, doing everything you can, trying to get to the league.
Right.
These dudes are getting as much money as freshmen as you would be if you're maybe not a first or second round pick, but 3rd through 7th round pick. You're making more than that now in college. So what is the drive, right?
Right, and you're taking that away.
Yeah,
I mean, and I would think like what we just were talking about, that's already happening in basketball.
Yes,
that's already happening. Like
you get what my kid needs
this amount of money minutes. Like they're negotiating their minutes.
Yeah,
so
which is crazy.
That is unbelievable. Like you can't coach. Like I would think as a coach, like no, you are like destroying my profession. No, we can't handle this. And you can talk to your next buddy, and y'all can come to an agreement. Like, yeah, we have to. We just have to say no, right? And you have to earn this because again, you still want to be able to instill all these things into into these athletes. You know what I mean? Like you can't preach accountability when you're giving them stuff.
You're giving them everything,
or hard work or discipline. Like you can't. The message is going to be false.
And then on top of that, how many college or high school athletes come out and change, and you think they're on this track to be so good, and then whatever happens, and they don't turn out to be the 5-star that you thought they were. Or I mean, you're giving this money to 17, 18-year-old kids. Some of them aren't even fully developed yet. Some of them are even coming out earlier than that because they're reclassing up a year so they can get there earlier and get the money. So these kids are 16, 17 years old. You have no idea what that kid's going to turn into. And so as we knew college football was in the past, it's completely dead. That is never going back to that. And that's the NCAA's fault for holding it so tight and punishing people for so long for getting $100, $150 even, getting a meal. That's their fault. That's why they have no legs to stand on. And that's why this whole thing is crumbling. And that's why it's a free-for-all right now. It's absolutely insane.
So do you think that the NCAA is going to eventually go away?
Absolutely, 100%. They have no legs to stand on. What is the NCAA? What is their purpose right now?
What do they do?
Have zero purpose.
Yeah, like
if they're going to get these lawsuits from the Deloitte thing, trying to pick people value, and they're going to cave on that because they don't have anything to back it up. They're going to be gone. I would say less than 3 years, NCAA is going to be completely gone. It's going to be non-existent.
So I like that you transitioned to that. So that was my question for you. We see all these astronomical deals, kids getting $1 million for slot corners and 1.5, 1.7 for defensive ends, all on the same team. And they're, I think a lot of them are banking that they're going to sue and win. So what's your perception of that? Because if they do sue and win, then it's like there is no rules. Once again, we're back to square one.
Exactly.
But
so they're trying to put the rules in place. Rules need to be in place. But again, they let this cat out of the bag, saying that, hey, whatever you're about, you can go make money off your name, image, and likeness. Once they said that, you can't put that genie back in the bottle. It's out. They can try to limit it. They try to give money to do this, but everyone's value keeps going up. Just like influencers on TikTok or YouTube, whatever it is. All they're doing is NIL deals. So influencers on TikTok puts up stuff in their video and they get sent money. That's an NIL deal. and they get boatloads of money on this stuff. I don't know what the correction is, how they're going to rectify the situation, but it's going to be, again, there's going to be lawsuits.
Do you think that they lose, that the NCAA or Deloitte will lose the lawsuit?
I think so, absolutely. Because how can you tell somebody what their value is?
Yeah, you can't.
Your value is what someone is willing to pay you. So how can they argue that, right? I don't know.
Yeah. I just think, definitely need guardrails.
It definitely turned into a betting app.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
That's the thing. And then the transfer portal thing, they're going to have to rectify that, because opening the transfer portals at the time they're opening them is insane. You can't open a transfer portal before the bowl games start.
Right. Again, you would think coaches will got behind that, because
what are we doing? I don't understand how that is even.
It's messing up their it's messing up the coaching profession.
Yeah.
Like now in the middle of the season, I got to think about, possibly losing a kid because.
But think about this. So every year, you basically have to re-recruit your same roster. You got to re-recruit the guys that you signed last year, because if they're worth anything, someone's trying to pick them off. Someone's tampering, whatever it may be. They watch all the film. They watch the games. Oh, that dude is pretty good. I would like to have him on my team. Let's see if we can poach him off your roster by offering him so much money.
But that's so then that's it could be another fix or another issue that they started, because like when I first got into this, going on recruiting and stuff with Riley, and and they're saying we didn't talk about NIL until like way in there. We could not talk about it.
Yeah, that shouldn't be the carrot that they're dangling in front of you.
No, yeah, because then you're missing all the important stuff.
Yeah,
that you need to see. But like when they started, saying, "Oh, this is where we see him," and I'm looking at my wife like, we're thinking, how our salaries are, for the year, and I'm like, that's 1 year,
right?
And I'm like, that is nuts,
right?
So why would you start there? Like I'm like, if I'm gonna offer you a deal, I'm only doing 2-year deals. I'm gonna guarantee that. If I develop you my first year, you're still going to be around for me to see, see you to fruition, that like the next year, not like, oh, I pour all this into you like 1 year and now you out of here because somebody gonna give you some money. Like, no, they should be out there. They should be 2-year deals. And at the end of that 2 years, a portal is open at that point too. But in that 2-year time, there's no portal and no poaching. That's an easy fix.
So there's someone in the chat had a great question. Buckeye Blessed 05. So now it's the Wild Wild West. How do you reel it back in now? If you put safeguards, couldn't they sue you for the safeguards, etc.?
So that's kind of what we're talking about, right? The value of this thing, like putting a limiting someone's value. Again, I don't know how they stand on that, how they can do that. It's everyone preaches free market, free world, go out and earn your money where you can. How can you tell me what my value is?
Right.
That's going to be the instant lawsuit. All these lawyers are lined up for the first deal that Deloitte turns away. They want to sue for it. How can they defend it?
So my question is, in terms of Dion's comments about a salary cap, how can you create a salary cap if there's no CBA? And if you have a CBA, how's that going to be formed? You see what I'm saying? So like, how is this all going to work?
That's the long play. Right? Now that these kids are getting Revshare, they're going to have to unionize. They're going to have to unionize either as a conference, as a whatever it may be. There's going to have to be rules for everybody. And unionizing is the only way that they're going to be able to put these rules in place, just like the NFL. So basically, this is the NFL model. There got to be a salary cap. There have to be collectively bargained agreements and stipulations. The players, NCAA players, are going to have to unionize.
But in order to do that, you have to be employees.
And so basically employees because the schools are paying these kids directly.
Yeah, I mean they are pretty much 1099.
Correct. If not, there's no intermediate. There's no, like I said, Revshare and NIL are completely different. Revshare comes directly from the schools.
Right.
So they're technically employees. They try to say they're not because they don't want to provide long-term benefits, workers' comp, all this other stuff that goes along with being an employee. You open a whole nother can of worms, right? So now you got to take care of them if they get hurt. And they get hurt long, you got to take care of them forever now. They can file disability against you. They can do all these other things because they're employees. So, but eventually that's where it's going to have to go. There's no other way around it. These kids are going to have to unionize and make it good for everybody. Or I don't know. I don't know how it's going to work, man. It is literally changing day by day, minute by minute. Before the House settlement was passed, in the last, when the judge kept sending it back and almost doing it, and everybody's talking about the July 1st deadline and all this other nonsense. It was changing by the minute.
But you know what's crazy? Like how I envisioned this, before I knew the inside understanding of the NIL. I thought it was like, okay, now I can make money off my jersey. Right now, if I want to, I'm just thinking about the playing the football, right? Yeah. I got my I'm good with that, my scholarship. But now if Sabatino's pizza wants me to do a commercial, all right, I can go do that commercial and get paid off it, right? Since I can't work, because I'm doing all the football stuff. But now I can go do this. So that's how I actually envisioned, this thing.
That's what it was supposed to be.
Right. But I mean, that's what they could still do that. So if you want, a school wants to have a liaison to help you get those deals, outside of, the football, then you can do that and earn money that way. Yeah. Why they didn't go that route is
it's because that's how it was set up. But schools that were hungry to get better players, and they want to win championships, they want to be in the playoffs. Listen, that $600 ain't gonna do you no good. I'll give you $10,000 if you come here. Yeah, you got to still be in one commercial. Yeah, or I'll give you $1 million. So the way the price went up for players, it was astronomical. It was starting off. It was 10,000-15,000. You turn around, it was 150,000. Then 600, and then 1.5. I don't even know how you jump that quick. But
big bank take little bank. That's all it's
exactly gonna be. Right.
Yeah. Well, that's how the big guys had it, strong on the game.
But see, that's what the thing is. That's where everyone knows this stuff was going on before. It was just in the dark, right? And everyone knew it was. You can drop off a bag over here. You can work out some kind of deal. But when the little guys start being able to do it and compete with the big guys don't like that. They like having all the money. They like having all the talent. They like backroom deals where they can get all the players and no one else can do that.
Right. So, PJ, you're saying the SEC didn't like everybody else being able to spend money legally?
SEC and maybe some Big Ten schools, too. Maybe some Big Ten schools.
Oh, man, we're not going to talk. Big Ten will not do that.
Some big guys, some big fish in the sea that like to stay on top,
So I got a question for you in terms of that. Where do you see the future of college football going? I mean, it sounds very expensive, like it's going to be very costly. I don't know how a regular college or a university will be able to afford all this stuff in terms of the liability, right? The liability aspect of it. So where does college football go from here, especially with the decreasing participation of youth in the sport itself?
Man, that's a really tough question. I mean, I know there's been talk of, and I think you guys in your administration was part of a discussion about the super conference where it's 70 teams and you have a north, south, east, west, and there's no more conferences. There's no any of that stuff. I think that's honestly a pretty good plan. I think there probably needs to be some things like soccer over in Europe, relegating someone down and moving someone up. Yeah, I think that is a smart play because you can be down for a couple years, 3, 4, 5 years. But then if you got a couple good years back to back in this other school, Y'all can switch places. I think that's a viable option. I think unionizing of the players is going to be a huge step that they're going to have to look at here sooner than later. I mean, this is unsustainable. You can't keep paying 18-year-old kids $5 and $10 million, guaranteeing them $5 and $10 million.
Not first year.
Yeah.
Not in the first year. I'm actually not in agreement with that at all.
So it's they have a lot of work on all different fronts, right? No one has it figured out. The players don't have it figured out. NCAA doesn't have it figured out. Administrators, ADs, and chancellors don't have it figured out. Legislator doesn't have. No one has it figured out.
So I read somewhere where 100% of the NIL deals have been denied by Deloitte.
I would not be surprised. I would not be surprised.
Deloitte don't know what they're doing.
How is that gonna work during the lawsuit? Because if it's getting denied by Deloitte, how are these kids getting promised so much money and it just fiscally doesn't add up to what you could provide for the rest of your team to keep an actual team to fill?
That's what I think. I think, I don't know for sure, but my thought process is that these are Revshare deals. So again, if you give the $15 million to your football team, then you basically have a salary cap guy like in the NFL.
Yeah, and then there's
quarterbacks making, you want to pay $2 million.
Right.
And then you got a receiver making $1 million for this year. Because Revshare, again, is every year, right? It's every fiscal year you're going to get 20.5 if you're committed to that. So I think they're, salary capping, moneyballing the thing and trying to get top guys. And that is really the goal, right? If it was just the $20.5 million, then everybody gets paid a little bit and you don't have these astronomical outside deals. But again, that's just eliminating the name, image, and likeness that they fought for so long that they got. And now they got to figure out how to control it, I guess. So that's a very good question. I don't know how you promise these kids all this money. It has to be a Revshare deal.
But you know what? It's not just for football, right? So how does Title IX play into the rev sharing as far as
that's what delayed the lawsuit. So these non-revenue sports were going to women's gymnastics or softball or whatever else. They were like, well, the 20.5, we're not getting a big percentage of that. That's the whole fight, right? But it's rev share. So if you're talking about revenue sharing, what are you bringing in? Exactly right. So football, basketball, women's basketball is usually the top 3 sports at any school, right? But some schools have more Olympic sports. So do they get a percentage of that as well? Administration might want them to get a percentage of it. But if you're a blue blood football school, you're going to try to keep as much money as you can on football.
I think that's fair, though. I mean, I think it's fair. I mean, you're not getting. I mean, it's not like you're getting nothing, but I think you should get a percentage of what you bring in. Whatever however that shakes out.
That is revenue sharing, but that's what they were fighting about. If we don't bring in revenue, then we still want money too. But they were trying to knock out the name, image, likeness. So the Libby Dunn girl, the gymnastics girl, she is fighting tooth and nail for this because she was getting huge NIL deals. Outside of any rev share, they're not giving money to gymnastics. They're not giving that much money. It's not a revenue generating sport. But she was making a boatload of money in NIL. So now they're going to cut that off and try to cap that $600.
Yeah,
I can't make my money outside of this when I'm not getting a part of the revenue share.
Right, and I'm with her on that. I'm with her on that because if you can earn it, then you should be able to get that. Right, and I mean, there's some people, some kids who can't. Like, if you're just, I mean, I don't know what to say. Like, if you're just not like you're a great athlete, but you're like you can't get that deal. You can't get that deal, and then you have to lean on this. No, I think that's how it should be. It's just like in NFL. They negotiate, they get their contract, and then if you get any other, endorsement deals,
they're just trying to cap it where it was getting astronomical. You can't just, $10 million for a 5-star recruit, or it was basically buying players, man. And they can't. I mean, last year there was rumors around that these teams were spending. Some teams were spending $30 to $35 million on their roster, which I believe
you do.
That's out there. Absolutely, 100%. Yes, they were spending that much money.
So my question is for Duke and KJ Senior right now. With both of you having sons on the team, in terms of NIL, right?
Right.
Let's say there's a linebacker and a defensive end that coming in, and Ohio State was to say match some of the biggest offers, 1.5 mil at both positions. And both of your sons made All-American lists. How would that affect them the next season, or even that first season, with the kid coming in, and the kids coming in didn't even make a play on the football field? How do you think both of your boys will react to that, and what would they say to Coach Day?
Okay, well, let me go, Duke, because my son is senior, so your son just coming in, Duke. So this really gonna fall back on you and your family, Duke. For me, since my son is senior, he might be at the door on this situation, because at the end of the day, even though he's a senior, but you still got to work the incoming guys that's coming in, because that's who will get the short end of the stick. It's the guy that just came in versus my son and his other comrade that's already juniors and seniors. You get what I'm saying? So for me, this go fall on you, Duke.
Yeah, and that's kind of like what I was just like getting at, where it makes it tough for your coaches and for your in your team, right? So the same reason I picked, we were comfortable with Riley's choice in choosing Ohio State. I know they wouldn't stand for that, right? He has the right guys in there at these positions that take pride in developing their what they have, right? Actually, and I know,
and that's facts, and that's facts.
I know that to be true, and it hasn't been said. So that I'm not even like concerned with that, because and then the other side of that is Riley had opportunity to take more money at other schools, but so it wasn't about that, right? And we've taught him, and he's been raised that what you eat don't make me.
Yep.
You know what I mean? So that's you got to come in and compete. At the end of the day,
that's you.
Yeah, like for me, but I also said that it will mess up a locker room.
Absolutely,
it will mess up the locker room, and that's what I don't like about like all of this.
That's why I got a question for all three of you. Said you were right there. Let's talk Ohio State specifically, because on X and everywhere else on social, all you hear is people killing LJ, killing the recruiting class, because they're not factoring what you just talked about with the locker room. So how do you guys feel about how Coach Day is handling NIL, especially with incoming freshmen, in terms of not giving them the biggest offer or making them the highest paid player walking into the WAC?
Let me say this, fella, because I don't. I'm 3 years. Well, I'm 4 years in now. So let's check that. So I like how the way Coach Ryan Day did everything, because Ohio State was the first university to make a whole pie, an NIL whole pie for the whole team. That's when they had the other guys, the other receivers, the other quarterbacks, the other running backs already in play when my son was a freshman. So everything was already installed when my son was coming out as a freshman. So I respect all of that, period. So whatever they get on the outside is just a bonus. It is what it is. You can't control that. You get what I'm saying? So Ryan Day doing a phenomenal job, and I don't care what nobody say. Now, Larry Johnson, hey, he old school, just like me. Dude, you can speak for me. Listen, I'm a fundamental guy. So Larry Johnson doing what he's supposed to do to develop the kids.
Yep.
student athletes. Everybody worrying about these 5 stars, 4 stars, 3 stars. That's irrelevant. It's all about who got the heart of a lion, a heart of a wolf. When you come into a program like Ohio State and the Florida State and the rest of the elite college university, you know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So everybody be crying about this, crying about that. Stop that crying, man. Because football is a gladiator sport. Anybody can get hurt at any time. That could be your star player, your favorite player, whatever the case may be. But Larry Johnson, Ryan Day, they doing a phenomenal job, and I'm rocking with them 1,000% all the way through.
Yeah, absolutely, and it's you know, it's a sign of like the times, like, you know, the kids do it with their offers. Oh, I'm this good, but why he got this many offers? Or, you know, how come that, you know, school offer me? It's the same, while missing the quality of what you have, right? Like looking at, you know, somebody else's car while you driving, and you got a nice car. You appreciate what you have. A lot of these schools are getting these kids for, you know, what Mello was talking about earlier is because for the wrong reasons, and you don't want the kids for the wrong reasons, right? Because the same way you get them, the same way you're gonna lose them, right? And and that's what you see happening everywhere else, but at Ohio State, right? So he's doing something right. Right, and he has the formula, and actually he has the formula that Stark just spoke on and spoke on today. Let me pull up this quote.
Yep,
the one that I sent you earlier.
Yes,
is,
sir.
Man, what did he say? And I mean, and he was spot on. Hold up. Oh yeah, here it is. And it's true. He's like, currently the market's too high, and right now we want to focus on retaining the talent that we have going into next season. We've already been doing that.
Yep.
You know, he just said it out loud. But that's the mindset that all these programs need to have, right? Because at the end of the day, you're doing the kids a disservice, giving them, whatever they want. You still have to earn stuff, man. Now you still do, right? And that lesson is going to stay with you. I know it sounds like, you know, pie in the sky, but that's what is going to make you a better person, you know, in like later on in life, man. And
yeah,
so
you two dudes with your sons are different. You have been there, maybe you see it for what it's worth. A lot of kids aren't coming and don't have that support behind them.
I know
they have someone that is more money hungry than they are.
Yeah.
So they have a single mom or a dad or anybody pushing them that is more money hungry than even they are. So now they're getting guidance that go for the biggest check. We need the money. You got to take care of all of us. You're able to get the money and take care of your mom and your grandma and everybody else. So we need the biggest check.
Yeah.
You are absolutely correct, PJ. And I see it every day, all day. But at the end of the day, you know who got to put a stop to that foolishness, that entitlement stuff? The college head coach.
Yeah, 100%.
That's true. But I think you guys speak highly of Day. I can't speak more highly of Fran Brown. What Fran Brown does at Syracuse is amazing. The dude is unbelievable. He's the most authentic person I come across in a game of football. And he coaches the fool out of those kids. I'm talking about he coaches them hard all the time. And they respect him for that. We don't have a ton of turnover at Syracuse either, but you guys were right. If someone is looking for that, it's out there and they can go find it.
Yeah.
And those might not be the guys we want in our locker room and representing our team, grinding like we want, because they're easy and quick to tap out when stuff gets hard. We don't want them.
Hey, PJ, I just got a kid over there named Booby Johnson.
Booby Johnson? We up at Syracuse?
Receiver. He's from Miami.
Oh, yeah. We listen. Fran can, and that's the thing. Syracuse is, like we were talking about earlier, dude, it's a hard place.
Mm-hmm.
Getting kids like that in Miami, it's more than just throwing dollars at them. And that's what Fran is unbelievable at developing relationships with these kids, in nurturing these kids and giving these kids exactly what they need, man. And I envy any player that can play and be coached by him, play under him and be coached by him, because he's he's an unbelievable leader.
And I believe you too. I see on TV.
Yeah.
And that's how it was, back in our day, PJ. I couldn't, it tripped me out coming from Boston and seeing how many dudes we had on the team from Florida.
Yeah.
I'm like, how are you? You know what I mean? And we didn't have a whole bunch of black coaches. I mean, but these dudes could recruit.
I came from Tallahassee, man, and all the way up to Syracuse, and it was the best decision I could have possibly made as an 18-year-old kid, coming all the way up there. And now, don't get me wrong, I wasn't a five-star recruit. Florida, in 1997, coming out of high school, it was Florida State, and Miami. I wasn't good enough to go to any of those three in Florida. There was no South Florida. There was no Florida Atlantic. If you're in Florida Atlantic, I would have spent 4 years at Boca Raton as opposed to spending 4 years in Syracuse.
Right.
I mean, why not, right?
Yeah.
But at the time, Syracuse was the best thing that could happen to me. And I was all in from the jump. I love everything about Syracuse. I love just being somewhat involved with the program as I am now. Anytime I get to go up there, I bring my son up there. My son is a rising junior. I bring him up there to be around Fran and the team as much as I possibly can, because I want him to see what it's like to be around great leadership and development of young men to go out. Because football it can end tomorrow. And there's enough bad people out there that made them a bad person so they be good at football. I would rather you be a good person than be a bad person and be good at football.
Yeah. And that build characteristics and that build motivation.
Go ahead, KJ. My bad.
I was just saying that build characteristics and that build motivation when it comes to your son, sir.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. But I want to shout out my the best Orange man all time, in my opinion. His name Carmelo Anthony. Hence my name on the screen. I love that dude. He's a baller. But PJ, you guys just had a kid just hit the transfer portal. He's from my neck of the woods in Gwinnett County, Georgia. His name is King Joseph Edwards.
Yeah.
If you happen to talk to him, just tell him, hey, you can pick up the phone. LJ is the GOAT. Like, Columbus is looking to stack up that D-line room.
No, and King Joseph is he was a heck of a ball player, man. And I got to know him a little bit while I was up there. The kid is good. And it just King needs to probably mature a little bit. And I think that'll help him a lot. But we hate to lose him. But again, you can't fight to hang on with all these kids, right? He's going to make a decision, and he just needs to develop and mature a little bit more. Not really on the field. On the field, the dude is dominant, right? He can rush the passer. He can do all of that. He just, had a few hiccups along the way. But I wish him all the best. I think wherever he lands, he's going to be a heck of a ball player when he gets it all figured out. The dude can play. I promise you that.
Yeah.
Absolutely.
I used to live in Gwinnett County too. When I played for the Falcons, I lived up in Lawrenceville up there.
That's where I live. Lawrenceville. Yeah. I lived in between Archer and Grayson High School.
Okay. I lived I live a little further up. I was trying to get close. Falcon facility all the way up there in Flowery Branch.
Yeah, Flowery Branch.
So
hey, Mello, pull up on
that
Dan Witch.
I know what you want me to pull up.
Hey, Dan Witch, let me tell you something, about man.
Yeah.
Go sit your clown self somewhere. Go get a Corona or something, man. Go drown yourself. Leave Larry Johnson alone, chump.
There you have it.
Yeah.
We're not taking
but just realistically though, like I said just a minute ago, if Ryan Day has him there, he's there because he's a high quality coach.
Yep.
Right. And he can produce. Right. So what y'all seeing a 5-star, he can make a 2, 3, 4-star, 5-star.
Yep.
And that's what people have to understand, man. And they don't say come here to be developed for like as a slogan. It's because kids are going there and getting developed, and kids are staying there because they're getting developed, right?
That's the key, man. Developing, growing. That's the key. Developing talent and growing that talent, and keeping the kids around, man, and keeping in the right direction. So
right, and like as that dude is, I think he's a amazing, a great coach. You know, to Kenyatta's point, like I'm just watching practice, like he's teaching the fundamentals, right? On top of pulling out the athleticism that you have. You know what I mean?
People think, man, people don't realize that coaching in the NFL is not that good. You better learn what you're going to learn and get developed in college, because you get to the NFL, they expect you to know. They ain't trying to coach you no technique. They ain't trying to give you all this other knowledge. Listen, we drafted you. You here, you get paid. Figure it out, or we'll get somebody else in here. That's it. It ain't no development.
Exactly.
So you have to develop these kids and grind them and figure all that out in college, man, or it's not going to happen.
Right.
It's definitely not going to happen in the league.
Right.
So what I noticed about our fan base last year was Justin Fry. I was part of that problem, but I learned from my mistakes, and I will not make the same mistake twice. But it seems like they have to have a target at somebody. Before Justin Fry, it was Keenan Bailey. It was like, oh, Keelan Bailey, he never coached before, but Keelan Bailey always hit his target, his number 1 and number 2 targets every year, and he's developing them as well. Just because he didn't play football doesn't mean he doesn't have the knowledge base to teach it, or he's not a great teacher. And now it's coming back to LJ, because they're not understanding how Ohio State is doing their salary cap, or whatever you want to call it, in terms of how they're going to spend their money, and they want to spend it mostly on retention, right? So people are taking it as LJ can't recruit or LJ can't coach, but he just sent his entire starting line to the NFL draft before the first 5 rounds.
Right.
So make it make sense to me. Am I missing something here, PJ? Right. Am I missing? You're the only one that's not Ohio State tied. So maybe we just have scarlet and gray glasses. But I mean, if I sent my entire starting line within the first 5 rounds of the NFL draft, I think I'm doing a pretty good job. No,
that's saying a lot.
Listen, I'm eternally indebted to your fan base anyway, because y'all ran Kyle McCord off, and he's happened to end up at Syracuse and have a dominant season.
We got Will Howard.
Thank you. All the Ohio State fan base that ran my man out of town. We appreciate it.
Yeah. Hey, and that's like, in the person who made that comments, in your term, like wherever you work, right, you have metrics and KPIs that you have to meet in order to like keep your job when you do your evaluations and all of that. So do you not think that same thing doesn't happen in college sports? Rhetorical, but it does. And clearly the CEO, head coach is sees the value that Larry Johnson brings to Ohio State. So you can get off that train and get back on and just support your team. Just support your team.
Huh? If a coach isn't getting the job done. At a program like Ohio State, if a coach isn't getting the job done,
you're out of there.
He ain't gonna be there long.
You're right.
And if not even
out of there,
not only on the field, but if you're not recruiting and you're not doing the things that they're asking you to do, believe me, you ain't gonna be there long. They don't have time to waste on a coach that is underperforming at a program like Ohio State, or even there's too much pressure in college football in general now. It's even more so up there. Your fan base is rabid, right? They're on it all the time. But if the coach isn't getting the job done, that coach's livelihood rests on the coach getting his job done.
Right.
Jason or Fran Brown ain't gonna be out there coaching the D-line. He's the head coach. He gotta get the good people in there to coach his D-line.
Exactly.
That's his job. And if you ain't getting the job done, then you got to figure out somebody else.
Get you out of there. And that's
absolutely,
and that's easy. And that's that's what I think. Why we even wanted to like do this, the show and platform, just because like fans, they talk about recruiting and this coach isn't doing this, and how come we ain't get this kid, and they think it's always like it's the coach's fault. But what y'all do not understand, and I can say this from experience, is fans can have a huge impact on whether you get a kid or not.
Absolutely.
Because of how social media, you're on Twitter, you're following these recruits, and you're also saying these things. So you're bashing a kid that you didn't get this year, and you expect a kid who's coming behind him and saw all this to want to come to your school.
Right.
Like, I mean, you're cutting your nose off to spite your face. Like, so like understand that as a fan base that you too are a part of the recruiting, and you can, affect a kid's opinion on a school or a parent. I mean, it's a real thing. So instead of getting bored, about stuff not going on or stuff that's not happening, hey, find a way to support your team wholeheartedly. But if not, get out the way. Or don't pretend like you're this rabid fan and you really don't support the team. Because if you support the team, and I'm not even talking about like unrealistically, because I don't even support my school unrealistically, and I played there. But there's ups and downs in seasons and teams, ebbs and flows. But if you're paying attention, you're seeing growth, right? Like if you're as passionate about your team, you will see the small wins in the areas that the team are winning in the positive direction that they're going. Instead of just trying to bring in this negativity, man. You're gonna put that negativity towards your rival. Just keep it there.
Yeah, absolutely. There's enough to go around for them.
That's a good one too. If you're a grown man out there bashing kids, then you definitely need help. What are we doing? Exactly. You're a grown man bashing a high school junior or senior. Yeah, you really need to grow up yourself. That is
right.
And honestly, you'll be surprised. There's a lot of people that do the same thing that we do, that have like fan base and they bashing current commits to Ohio State. Crazy. It's just ridiculous.
Yeah,
I just think that's the world we live in, right? Everybody can be tough behind the keyboard and put all this stuff out, and not they wouldn't dare say any of that stuff anybody's face to face, right?
No,
that's just the world we live in. Unfortunately, we all have to go through it. We have sons, and we're in this football world, which is crazy. People can't get enough of it.
So how did you guys navigate that factor that we're talking about right now, and the crazy fan bases, as all of you guys have played and have children that are playing? How do you navigate that? How do you guide your son to handle that, especially you two on the bottom, because they play for Ohio State. If they miss one tackle, they're going to try to kill him. They were trying to kill Sonny Styles last year, and it was his first year ever playing linebacker in his entire life on the plane.
Yeah, he balled out.
Man, that's just something you gotta have. You gotta have emotional intelligence at all times. You know what I'm saying? Because people could say they feel like they entitled to say what they want to say, which is kind of true in a way, but it's all about remember the saying that when a person hit, they working on the second man so they can throw a flag. That's how it is when you're a parent. You know what I'm saying? They wait for the reaction. You know what I'm saying? So at the end of the day, man, hey, I love everybody, but the disrespect with grown people insulting teenage kids, I have a real issue with that, man. So when it comes to our kids, or anybody kids, man, you don't disrespect kids. You just don't. So for me, I just, put my headphones on and some other time I don't even look at I'm barely on social media.
Yeah.
And then people just those come for, you can't entertain clowns. Clowns belongs at circus and parties. It is what it is, man.
It's true.
It's true. Yeah. Now I don't
conversation with Riley.
I'm like with I'm not gonna take the opinion of somebody who I don't know. You take it with a grain of salt, right? Like, who cares? But like Brett said, like if it's disrespectful, like if you're, attacking it like his character or like anything like that, or our family, I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something. My wife's gonna say. Someone in my family will respond, but like to a point, just to let it be known that you're not just gonna say this thing, right? And then I'll move on. But I will not get wrapped up in it at all.
It's just
if it's like a big deal, it's easy for me to avoid it. You know what I mean? I don't have to be.
It's ridiculous that we even have to have this conversation about grown people bullying kids online because they missed a tackle in the game.
Right.
You don't have anything more important to do in your life than to bash a kid for missing a tackle in a game of a team that you're a fan of. Right. This game has no real bearing on your life. You ain't doing other stuff, but you're bashing a kid.
Strange.
That is insane to me. I don't understand the thought.
I get, Like he made a mistake. Oh yeah, it's natural to be like, dang, how you missed that tackle? Yeah, that's natural. Leave it there.
Right.
Leave it there. You know what I mean? Because again, they are kids, and just like your kid, like you can teach and raise your kid, and instill all the values. They're always going to do something dumb.
Yeah.
Right.
And make a mistake. And then you have to, correct them and move on from it.
So when your kid get a speeding ticket, you want me to get in the DMs and say, look at you, your kid's a dummy, you can't even want to drive, and he should go drive off the highway. Like, that is ridiculous.
Yeah. So how could you do that to your family? You're
It's crazy.
Where you that's what that sounds like.
Yeah.
But gentlemen, man, this has been a awesome conversation. PJ, thank you for coming. The fan base really needed that information. I think this was one of the most important shows, especially at the time that we're at. It was like when he told me his idea, I'm like, oh yeah, I got to be there because it's been really heavy in Ohio State. The fandom, they've been going crazy about this NIL and just the recruiting aspect and not understanding the bigger picture that's going on. So I appreciate you being here, joining us. And do you have any final words for Buckeye Nation before we roll out of here?
No, man. I just hope it was, a little bit insightful. I know I probably didn't answer all the questions. I don't have all the answers. I can't predict the future, obviously. This thing is constantly changing. But I hope, gave you a little bit of understanding. And again, I just want to say to Buckeye Nation, thank you again for running Kyle McCord out of town. Everyone at Syracuse is very appreciative of all you guys. Kyle went down in history at Syracuse, so thank you again.
It's all good. It allowed us to get Will Howard. He took us to a natty, baby.
Yeah.
It's a win-win, right?
I thanked him too. I thanked him.
Yeah.
Yep.
I appreciate it.
I
really appreciate your insight, man. I knew it would be, spot on and helpful, to the audience, man, because it's a lot of information out there, a lot of misconceptions, and hopefully, he was able to clear up some of those, misconceptions, around, NIL and Revshare and all that. You got a better understanding. But if you need a deeper dive, that Google's a mug. Tell you a lot.
It's all out there. It's got a lot of reading. I know that.
A lot of reading, right.
A lot of reading, and then you have to interpret what you read, though. Exactly. That might be the hardest part, right?
That part.
Especially when you got to read it like 5 times.
Hey, the more you do it, the better you'll get at it.
Absolutely.
Brad, you got any final words for Buckeye Nation?
No, man, I just appreciate y'all boys for having me on, and I think the insight from PJ and Duke. I'll be seeing you on August 30th.
Oh yes.
Yeah, OH.
Yo, baby. Thank you guys for joining us. Hit that like, comment, share, subscribe. Pops Pod is a thing every other Friday. Are we gonna get D1 moms?
Oh yeah, they come.
Yeah, because I'm thinking like it might be cool. You could talk to them. Maybe they could do the opposite Fridays. You guys aren't
I don't want no smoke with the moms. I'm good.
Man, that show was a banger. I think that concept was phenomenal. But
the mom more intense than us, boss. I'm sorry.
Yeah, you can't mess with the kids.
They would all smoke.
Man, that's for Mama Bear. No, yeah, no, we gotta figure out that the rhythm of that. That'd be dope.
Yeah, it's gonna be fire. Thank everybody for showing up. And on that note, go Bucks. OH.
IO.
Oh.